What's going on, guys? Want to give you my review of Ring of Honor's Clash of the Contenders. Um, this took place in October back in Collinsville, Illinois, around the St. Louis area. They usually don't give them very good shows in Collinsville. So far, all the shows pretty much been mediocre. This is a mixed bag. I think there's some pretty good stuff in here, but there's also some stuff that really hurt the show. I wouldn't call it the worst show of the year, though. I say there's a lot of shows that were worse than this, but the first match was actually Kevin Steen and Roderick Strong. I thought we got off to a pretty good start. I think Steen and Strong could actually have a much better match than this, but you know, they were kind of holding back. It wasn't really that intense, but the crowd was into both of these guys, and it was just a nice, friendly match, a nice face versus face match. It didn't go too long, but it was pretty solid. Nice, refreshing matchup. This is the type of match that Ring of Honor can explore more in the future, because has not been overdone. I think they've only had one match. It's a pretty good matchup. So that was solid. Mischif versus Nicole Matthews. We get an ROH women's match, which I think was not very good. I thought it was very weak, because the crowd really didn't care about what they were doing. They just, I don't know. The ROH fans right now are so spoiled now. It's very tough to throw women's wrestling at them and trying to get them to react, because they've been putting on so many epic matches throughout the whole year, and it's just tough to get the fans to react to this type of stuff right now. But yeah, I mean, it was just generic women's offense. But I like Mischif, though. I think Mischif has a nice look, and I think she's a pretty good wrestler as well. So that was kind of a disappointment. It kind of brought the show down. Next up, we get a four-corner survival. We get Claudio Castagnoli, Colt, Cabana, Petey Williams, and the returning Ace Steel, who, I don't know, I really don't care for him coming back anymore, because he's pretty much past his prime. He's more of a trainer, but it's nice to see him back, because, you know, he had a hand in helping CM Punk and Colt Cabana. But this is pretty fun, though. It was short and it was sweet. Petey looked pretty good here. He did the Canadian Destroyer with Colt Cabana, which looked very tough to pull off, but he did it. And Claudio looked like a monster here. I thought Claudio really pulled out some sweet stuff like he's been doing. He's pretty hot right now. He's really in great shape, and he's really just adding a lot of dimensions to his character and his wrestling. So this is pretty good. It was short and it was sweet, and yeah, this was a very positive match. Next up, we get the Briscoes versus the House of Truth. I thought this was really good, actually. House of Truth really impressed me here, more so than they've ever done in the past. You know, there were times when I was watching this match, I was like, wow, this is kind of dragging on a little bit too long. But then eventually, you kind of got you wondering if the House of Truth could actually upset the Briscoes, which was a good thing. So yeah, the House of Truth pulled out some really nice offense. You know, I think they have a lot of potential, actually. And the Briscoes look okay here. I mean, they didn't look like their old usual selves. Mark Briscoe kind of made the hot tag to Jay Briscoe, and that's when the match really started picking up. So yeah, this is solid. I give it a solid 3.5 stars. Alright, so next we get the match of the night and a potential match of the year candidate. We get Davey Richards versus Kenny Omega. I thought this was an excellent match. Wow, I mean, they had a match in PWG earlier on in the year. I think this was even better than that. The crowd was really hot for this. They were chanting, "This is wrestling." It was really fast-paced. It was really fun. You know, you get two great wrestlers, but two very different personalities, and that's why I think this works so well. I won't spoil the ending here, but Davey's intensity was off the charts. Just another excellent Davey Richards match, and Kenny Omega, you know, he hung with Davey Richards every step of the way, and one of the spots of the match is when Davey actually did the running German suplex off the top of the turnbuckle, and then Omega flipped over. That was pretty innovative. And Kenny Omega busted out some pretty sweet stuff. I mean, just an excellent, excellent match. This is underrated. Definitely try to check this match out, and definitely consider it for your top 5 matches of the year, because I thought it was that good. Maybe that's kind of stretching it, but it was very, very good. Definitely stole the show here. They were actually chanting match of the year after this was over. So that's how good they thought it was. Definitely the best match that Ring of Honor has done in Collinsville, Illinois, you know, since they've been running shows there. So definitely the brightest spot on the show. Next we get Kenny King and Rhett Titus versus the Young Bucks. Alright, these guys really just couldn't follow Kenny Omega and Davey Richards. They really had a tough time It really did not compare to their match at Manhattan Mayhem. This is probably the weakest Young Bucks match I've seen all year. For whatever reason, it just didn't click. They really didn't do too much. Rhett Titus actually got a roll up to get the win. It really didn't go too long. The crowd was kind of dead during the match, so it's pretty much what it was. Just kind of unfortunate there, because this card really looked great on paper. But next up we get Tyler Black versus Chris Hero. This was kind of disappointing. The crowd really didn't pop well for Tyler. Hero had a lot more fans on his side actually. Hero was actually going to work on Tyler Black's neck for most of the match because Tyler Black, he had to get minor neck surgery, I believe. So he kind of let the cat out of the bag, and so that's kind of the storyline behind it. So Hero was going to work on his neck. It was decent though. I mean, the wrestling was pretty good. They just didn't really get the fans really into it. The finish was kind of weak. Tyler hit God's last gift, and it just came off very flat. But it was decent though. I wouldn't say it was terrible. Maybe 3 stars. Next up we get the ROH World Title match. We get Austin Aries Lucky Lottery. Now earlier on in the show, Daisy Hayes actually won the Lucky Lottery, so she came out, and then Jim Cornette came out, and then Delirious came out, and Cornette kind of ordered Aries to defend the title against Delirious. This is a pretty decent match. I think Delirious and Aries have very good chemistry. They're both former head trainers at the ROH Wrestling School, so they have that in common. Really, the most interesting spot of the match is when Aries actually ducked Delirious and did a torpedo through the ropes into Daisy Hayes. I don't know why he did it. I guess he just did it for the hell of it, or just to add suspense to the match. So it was pretty cool for him to do that. The fans were chanting "Holy shit!" after that. Him and Aries and Delirious have pretty good chemistry, but the problem with this is it's just not main event worthy. I mean, even Bryan Danielson and Delirious, whenever they had their ROH title matches, they never really main evented. It was always like the 3rd or 4th match from the main event, sometimes even before intermission. So I just don't really think Delirious main eventing the show, it's really not going to go over well with the crowd. The crowd was very respectful towards the match. They were very supportive of Delirious, but no one really bought that the title was going to change hands. So the ending was pretty cool though. Delirious went for Shadows Over Hell, and Aries kind of punted Delirious in midair and then went right into the Brainbuster to get the pin. So that was a pretty decent finish. Aries put on a good performance here, but I really think the show would have been better off if they had Kenny Omega and Davey Richards main event the show, just like Davey Richards and Tyler Black did at Proving Ground. I think this show would have been a lot better off actually, because no one could really follow the great match between Davey and Omega. It was just really tough to do because they just blew everything away. So that's pretty much it. I'd say actually definitely check this out because it has a Match of the Year candidate on it. It's not a great show though. There's a lot of better shows out there. Maybe you could get this in a buy 3, get 2 free sale. It's definitely worth checking out. So that's pretty much it. All right.